The Blackhawk Serpa concealment holster is an awesome holster. It's high quality, it's also high value. And when I say high value, I mean you get a lot for your money. I recently purchased this excellent holster for $45. This is the third Serpa concealment holster I've had experience with that I've owned, and I've had good experiences with all of them. As I've sold different firearms, those holsters have left with them. So this is the third Serpa concealment holster I've owned. I've always been impressed with the quality, the fit, and finish. You get two panels when you purchase the Blackhawk Serpa concealment holster. You get a belt panel, okay? This just clips right on your belt easily, running your belt through there. You also get this paddle panel, which you can attach to your holster. The Blackhawk Serpa concealment holster comes with this belt panel already attached, and it just takes about 2 minutes to undo these 3 screws and put the other panel on. Both of the backs of these panels allow you to adjust your pistol, whether you want it straight up and down or whether you want a forward cant or a backward cant, depending on what you prefer. So it gives you options, and that's one of the reasons I like this holster. It gives you different options. You can also get this holster in a number of different colors: tan, flat dark earth, OD green. So you have some different colors. You can also get different designs on the front of the gun holster, which gives you lots of different options. I like options. I like different colors. I think that makes this holster that much more interesting. You can also buy panels which attach to the back of this holster, allowing you to attach it to MOLLE gear. If you're into tactical equipment, a tactical chest rig, maybe a plate carrier, maybe a bag that allows you to conceal carry, there are different options for you to attach, whether that be Velcro or into MOLLE, the Serpa concealment holsters. And Blackhawk produces those back panels, so they're easy to access. They run about $15. Use basically, I believe, the same screws. So you have different options if you're in the tactical gear for the Serpa concealment holster. This holster comes in a number of different shapes and sizes because it fits a number of different firearms, and you're going to need to buy the particular holster that fits your particular firearm. Most, and I'm saying most because there are some large frame semi-automatic handguns which you probably will not find this holster in, but most firearms, if you own a large frame semi-automatic handgun, you're going to find this holster in it, and you're going to be able to get the coloration which you might like. They also make this holster, the Serpa concealment holster, for some revolvers. I wish they would make it for more revolvers. If you're a revolver guy, the options are limited on this holster. They make it, I believe, for the Taurus Judge and some J-frame revolvers chambered in .38 Special that are hammerless. I believe that those are kind of your options in the revolver area. And as time goes on, Blackhawk may choose to release the Serpa holster in different revolvers, and I would like to see that. I think it is an excellent holster. And when it comes to revolvers and when it comes to pistols like the Glock, which have no external safeties on them, I view a high-quality holster as a safety. When you lock this gun into the holster, you can't actuate the gun. You can't pull the trigger. And that's important. That gives me a safety on the gun. And working together, you have a safer system. And so a good quality holster is also going to serve for a gun which has no external safeties, or for a gun that has external safeties, as another level of safety. So to me, I would like to see the Blackhawk Serpa holster produced for revolvers, a number of revolvers. For instance, I would like to see it released for the 686P. That's a large frame Smith & Wesson, chambered in .357 Magnum, along with other large frame revolvers. I think this is an awesome holster, and I'd like to be able to have it for more of my firearms. I like the fact that the Blackhawk Serpa holster has double retention. And when I say double retention, that means that there are two separate pieces that work together to retain your firearm. One is this lever, and this lever actually actuates a little piece of plastic, goes into the trigger guard here, and retains the firearm. It cannot actuate the trigger, okay, but it retains the gun in the holster. The other way that this holster retains a firearm is the fact that you can screw this screw down or up, and it will increase the amount of friction or lower the amount of friction which holds the gun in. Blackhawk actually produces this holster without this lever, and it's a few dollars cheaper, so that might be a more cost-effective option if $45 is too much for your firearm. But I like the 2 levels of retention. They also make the Blackhawk Serpa holsters for police officers and military, which have 3 levels, or classified as having 3 levels of retention. And I like those too, but I think this is a more cost-effective, more realistic holster for your average guy. Locks in. You've got the retention there pressing down. I can actually actuate the lever, and the gun does not fall out. You could lower the retention, and with the lever, the gun would also be there. It would also rattle, though. That would be somewhat annoying. I find the rattle in this holster to be minimal. This holster does not rattle tremendously when you get the retention screw at the right level. 2 levels of retention, I like that. I think that's a benefit. Some people do not like the Serpa holsters because of this lever. They feel that this causes you, as you try to draw your firearm, the likelihood of your finger slipping in, trigger finger slipping into the trigger guard and accidentally discharging the firearm, they feel that that increases it. In theory, I think they are correct. In reality, I think my finger is attached to my body, and your finger is attached to your body, and you should know what your finger is doing when you're in a situation. Yeah, I think people, and there are videos on YouTube, I believe, of people shooting themselves when they've been using a holster such as this one, because they do get their finger into the trigger guard. All right, let's just safety check that, make sure that it's safe. So you draw the firearm, okay, pull the trigger. It can happen. I'm not saying it can't happen, but there are other companies that tote their holsters that use some kind of a thumb release system or something as safer. You still have to know where your trigger finger is. You can't just say, oh, I'm just using my thumb to release the firearm, so what my trigger finger does during that session doesn't matter. The same thing is true here. Like I said, I own 3 of these Serpa concealment holsters, and I have shot hundreds of rounds while using them, and I have never found that my trigger finger slipped in accidentally to the trigger guard. I was being careful. And to me, it's all about training, and it's all about knowing what I'm doing and when I want to be doing it, and being careful. Right? My finger shouldn't even be entering the trigger guard until the gun's up on target. Then I can enter the trigger guard. That needs to be what's happening. And so to me, this is not an unsafe holster. What's unsafe is if you don't understand, yes, there is a possibility that I can do that, and if you're not being careful. There is no holster, there is no gun that is so safe that you can be stupid with it. Right? This is a dangerous tool. Excellent. You can't just juggle chainsaws, right? And expect that, oh, I'm going to get hurt. I can't get hurt, right? You're going to get hurt if you do dumb things. So you have to be careful, and you have to know what your body's doing when you're operating a piece of equipment which has the potential to be dangerous to you. One of the things I really like about the Serpa concealment holster is the fact that it has one-handed retention. This is a term I'm choosing to use. I believe I came up with it on my own, but I could have accidentally pirated it from somebody. I'm sure there are other terms for what I'm about ready to describe. Feel free to comment and let me know if you have a better term. But I'm calling it one-handed retention. What I mean by one-handed retention is I can draw the firearm with one hand. Most holsters are this way. But many holsters, particularly leather holsters, do not allow you to put the firearm and have full retention of the firearm back in the holster. I like the fact that the Serpa concealment holster does that. I like that you have 2 factors working to retain the firearm. That lets me know when I hear that click, I'm not losing my pistol. Okay? There might be a situation in which you would need to draw your firearm. Maybe you'd use it, maybe you wouldn't. And then you would need to put it back one-handed, and you might find yourself tripping, stumbling, falling, running, climbing over something. And in the process, you would lose your firearm if these retentions failed. Right? Well, they are not going to fail. It's an excellent holster, but you can do it one-handed. You might find yourself climbing something, climbing down into something, right? You might need to use your pistol and put it away without having the luxury of reaching over with your offhand to help yourself secure your firearm. An example of a holster which makes you use your offhand is this holster. It's an excellent holster. I like it. It's the Galco Fletch High Ride holster. And this is one of the reasons I like to see Blackhawk producing these Serpa holsters for revolvers. This particular holster is for the 686P. That's a full-size Smith & Wesson chambered in .357 Magnum. I love the gun. I like this holster. Okay, but what happens is you go to draw your gun, and I think that it's basically as quick as this Serpa concealment holster. Gun comes out. If I was having to reach over to free my gun up, I wouldn't have the holster. Draw the firearm. Use the firearm. Don't use the firearm. I want to put the firearm back in. Okay, now I usually have to reach over. I know that you can do the snap, like so, one-handed. Okay, but it takes some dexterity and it takes some movement. And in a situation where I would need to be running and moving quickly, trying to fool around with doing it one-handed, I'm going to reach over with my left hand and snap the holster. That may not be a big deal, but if you don't do that, or you forget to do that, and you just slam your firearm back into one of these leather holsters, and then have to run, and you stumble, or you fall down, or you leap down into something, or you climb up something, you can lose your firearm. The only thing that's holding the firearm into a holster like this when the snap is not done is gravity. So if you change your position, if you bent forward, if you fell, whatever that you might be needing to do, you could lose your firearm because gravity would no longer be working. Plunk, out goes your gun. On the range, that could be dangerous if you forgot to do your snap, because you might have an accidental discharge. The gun might fall out, the hammer might be struck, something might happen, the gun could fire accidentally. In a situation where you'd be needing to use the firearm for your safety or defense, you could lose your firearm. I don't want to lose my firearm in the middle of a firefight. That would be very unfortunate. So I like the one-handed retention, and I hope that I've been clear what I mean by one-handed retention. In and back in, out and back in of the holster, and I don't have to do anything else. I know the gun is safely retained. That's not true with these leather holsters. This holster is reviewed. It's in a playlist entitled TheGearTester Approved Holsters. I still like it. Would there be some things I'd change about it? You better believe it. Let's talk some more about the Serpa concealment holster. Concealment would make me think that this holster is designed and intended for concealed carry. I do not see this holster as a concealed carry option. Okay? For the most part, this holster is issued or is sold for firearms that are large. For instance, a Glock 17, a Glock 19. These are not small guns to begin with. When you put them in a big piece of plastic or Kydex, and I believe these holsters are plastic, now I've increased the width of my firearm. Then, when I use screws and things to attach another piece of plastic to it, I've now got like half an inch more. Okay, I do have half an inch more of space. So I have a large firearm. I'm making it even, that's wide, that's long. Now I'm making it even larger, and it sticks out. And I find that whether you're using the paddle or you're using the belt attachment, that in either situation, the gun is not super concealable. Okay, I would not try and conceal carry a firearm with Serpa holster, at least in this setup with this Glock. Maybe if you're in Siberia in the dead of winter with 3 jackets on, you could do it. In that case, you're not going to be able to operate your firearm anyway because it's under 3 layers of clothes. So I don't see the Serpa concealment holster as a concealed carry option. Maybe as a open carry option, certainly. I know a number of different police officers and law enforcement agencies use some kind of a Serpa holster. That might be a level 3 retention that comes up here and locks over different things, but they would be being careful, and they would like the multiple levels of retention. For most people in the United States, outside the waistband carry, open carry may not be your option of choice, which means for me that this is usually used as a range holster, and that's why you see that I have the paddle on it. It's easy to get to the range, load the gun up, and easy to clip this on quickly to my belt, put the firearm in, shoot. Then if I want to switch firearms, maybe I'm shooting a different handgun, then it's easy for me to take this off. Package goes into the range bag once again. It's safe. Of course, you'd be making sure that the gun is unloaded, right? Not just putting a loaded gun, throwing it in somewhere, hoping that it doesn't accidentally fall out or something. You're being safe. You're observing the proper rules of firearm handling. Another thing is it's really easy to transfer this holster because I'm not using the belt. I don't have to undo my belt. Someone may be shooting at the range with me. I can hand this to them. They can clip it on easily and be ready to go. This holster is offered for a number of different light options. So you could get different lights if you wanted to have a firearm with a light on it, which would probably be a good idea if you're planning on using that for home defense. You can buy this holster and you could have a light already on your gun. So you just need to draw it, use your firearm, you can have your light, and you can put it back. I think that the Blackhawk Serpa holster, concealment holster, is an excellent option for home defense. Something goes bump in the night. The worst possible thing I think somebody can do is rack around in the chamber and go walking through their house looking for the bad guy like this, right? What if it's your dog? What if it's your kid? What if it's someone that should be in your house at an appropriate time, but you've forgotten? It's late at night, you had a hard day, you're in the middle of an excellent night's sleep, and all of a sudden you are woken up by some pots and pans clashing, and you go charging out into your kitchen, gun drawn, ready to go, and someone surprises you and you double tap and, that was your grandma. Okay? That would be a very poor decision. And that's one of the reasons I think the Serpa concealment holster with the paddle is awesome. Even with pajama pants, if you have some kind of a tie on them, you can easily slip this in your pants. You can take your flashlight. It's very easy to deploy the gun. It comes up and out if you're in a life-threatening situation. Gun is in your holster. It's safe. It's pointed in a safe direction. You have your handheld flashlight, and you're scanning and you're looking. Oh, it's just a cat. Oh, we're having an earthquake. Oh, it's a neighbor kid doing something they shouldn't be, but not somebody who is threatening my life and my safety. To me, this would be an awesome thing to have on your nightstand, in the safe, by your bed, ready to go. It increases your safety, it increases everyone else's safety, and it allows you to have your firearm when you need it, where you need it, and readily attached to your body quickly. The Serpa concealment holster. I like it. High quality, high value. Its uses are endless. It comes in a number of different firearm calibers as well as different models and makes. I would encourage you to get one. They're high quality, they're high value, and they're an excellent holster. If you've liked this video, I have a number of others that look at quality holsters in a playlist on my YouTube channel entitled TheGearTester Approved Holsters. That's TheGearTester Approved Holsters. I also have a video which might be interesting to you. It's titled TheGearTester Holster Protocol. In that video, I talk about what I look for in a handgun holster. Thank you so much for your views and your subscriptions. This is TheGearTester, signing off.